Welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here at the News Forum, here with Stephen Marr. He is a Harvard Neiman Fellow and a Maclean's Magazine contributing editor. We're talking about TikTok. Stephen, I guess you mentioned the U.S. Senate hearing on TikTok. So is this data gathering ability that it has, is this a new concern? Have there been warnings in the past? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, there have been repeated warnings. The China hawks or China critics, who are often associated with the Republican Party in the United States, have often said, well, this is terrible. And, they associate it with other matters that they're apprehensive about Chinese influence over American society. And the intelligence community has often issued similar sort of warnings. The context of this is, if we look at other companies like WeWa, forgive me if I'm saying that wrong, I often do, we see, the American intelligence experts have raised concerns about a pattern of Chinese telecoms equipment being located near military bases, of both industrial and state espionage at a breathtaking scope in the United States. And what's, I think, somewhat unfortunate is, like everything in Washington these days, it kind of gets tangled up in the main partisan struggle between the two parties.
Right. Right. So, in a sense, this has become a partisan issue there. But I guess the issue, one of the things that is bipartisan about U.S. politics is the threat of China these days, actually, surprisingly. So how can the Chinese government, if they had access to this data, how could they use it to their advantage?
Well, the one thing is that the most powerful people in the country, all kinds of members of the military has banned, for serving U.S. Military members may not have TikTok on their phones, but their children can, their family members can, and the same thing goes for cabinet ministers and so on. The Chinese can likely tell, if they're using this data, where close family members of senior politicians are at all times. It includes, recently, the application's permissions allow for biometric data. I am not an intelligence analyst or intelligence expert, but it seems to me that this is a massive vulnerability for American society, that the Chinese may understand things about the United States because of the power of the aggregated data that they've got in this app, that even the Americans don't know about themselves.
Hmm. No, that obviously has got to be front and center in the concerns. And of course, China has a history, the government of China has a history of mass monitoring. So that must be part of the concern as well.
Yeah, I mean, we see what they're doing with most horribly with the Uyghur minority, the Muslim minority, where they are. It's really not very different from the kind of nightmare scenario that George Orwell's 1984 contained. The people they cannot use their phones without being spied on by the government, and that's throughout China. The government is able to look in everyone's apps. There's an extremely creepy sort of social credit score that's associated with every citizen. And in the case of the Uyghur minority, they use data that they gather from people's phones to detain and abuse minority citizens in a way that's horrifying, right? That has not happened in Western countries in a long time.
And so we've got about 30 seconds before the break, but is that the concern, that this kind of builds the Chinese ability to do this kind of monitoring and oppression, really.
Yeah, I mean, they're not. Nobody thinks that the Chinese are about to be running the United States anytime soon, but they are not. I think what this shows is that they are not held in check by any kind of ethical or human rights concerns.